Thank you very much. I know Mr. Sukhamalin have very good communications and collaboration with Swiss partners, and I hope next time or the next event he will have possibility to join and to continue with the develop of the successful business and successful projects between the city of Zhytomyr and Switzerland. Okay, very briefly. Oh, thank you very much for allowing. Very briefly, I propose to start the next presentation, and I ask to join this stage Vasil Doronin. Sorry, this is me. I try to be very briefly and very clear in my messages. Прошу увімкнути презентацію. Sorry, topic of my presentation is hydrogen energy development in Ukraine and the cluster development. This topic is very important for Ukraine because the future energy market in the whole world will be to consist from the hydrogen, artificial intelligence, and space technologies. Because Green Deal and green transformation of all Europe, it can't be without hydrogen or biogas or something, the new technologies for storages energy and to support of decentralizations. Okay, next slides. Yes, thank you very much. Hydrogen topic is very difficult for understanding. It's a new model of energy revolutions in the world that consists of from production, transformation energy, storage energy, transportation energy. Yes, we must understand it's one of the biggest part, the one with the cost in the value chain production of hydrogen. And the main idea for using hydrogen, it is the end uses and final consumption. I explain. The simple chemical elements like nitrogen, hydrogen, CO2 and O2, we can to fix any energy and agricultural problem in the world without fossil fuels, without too much pollutions, and can to the safe planet in the future. You can see the very simple method combine and production of synthetic gases. Nitrogen with hydrogen is green ammonia. We must understand green ammonia is fuel for the ships, fuel for the trucks, fuel for everything, for any kind of engine. Also, it's food security. It is win-win technology. CO2, it is the main idea, it is capturing CO2. If we will to combine, we get the methanol. Methanol is also key for chemical, I think it's biggest part for all industrial in the world. And I think Ukraine have very good position for take very high results, very high results in any such of these elements of this process. Next, please. Yeah, I changed my position, sorry. Ukrainian hydrogen vision. In Ukraine, we have too much project of hydrogen strategy, yes? We have too much hydrogen plan. I think it's number around 5 hydrogen strategy during 5 years, last 5 years. Yeah, much philosophers. But we think Ukrainian hydrogen strategy and vision must be approached and based on the real scientific calculations, real scientific results and reports. But right now we can to say Ukrainian can to be supplier clean hydrogen. I don't say green right now, but it's clean hydrogen, biomethanol to European Union. This position approved in energy strategy for all Ukraine to 2050 strategy. We have very good opportunity to co-urbanization and heavy industry, because after the war, I think we deoccupied our territory and we came to mining too much stock, a massive stock of ferrous and minerals in Ukraine, and we must to recover heavy industrial and metal industrial, and also hydrogen is one of the topic and issues for the European energy, European integration. I think all these points you know, you saw it before, and my idea about all vision of Ukraine. Hydrogen is the key for developing energy security and created decentralization energy model. This is main idea. We must to replace and shift from the centralization energy system and create decentralizations energy systems. Next, please. Okay, the SWOT analysis. I think Ukraine have very good geographical location. Ukraine have a very large capacity of the cost-competitive clean nuclear power production. Everyone we know, 50% of Ukrainian energy mix was produced from the nuclear energy power plants. Energy from nuclear power plants, and European Union is it green or like clean energy? About opportunities. I think hydrogen can to make green our steel, can make green our electricity, and can to improve in the future our export potential in all Ukrainian market. I said not about just energy market. I said for all goods and for all minerals, steel markets opportunities. Next, please. Bad side, weaknesses. We understand we can make some of the future plans for hydrogen development. We can't to make vision in the fast future, because military action and demanding territories, it's one of the dangerous points for every business who want to create in Ukraine in the fast future. We understand, habits in Ukrainian consumers is a little bit different than the European Union. We must to explain for everyone energy efficiency, green climate technology. It is very important. Also, we have very old TCO and DCO transmission systems in Ukraine. We have very weak tax system in Ukraine. And actually, monopolist in Ukraine is one of the problem, who can give opportunity to rise any project in Ukraine. But we think the new generation of Ukrainian people can fix problem with every monopoly in Ukraine.
Now monopoly is not so strong.
Yes.
As 1 year ago.
Yes. New generation is it's a fast future. Next. But I think the main problem for developing hydrogen and make some energy project in Ukraine, it is afraid this war can take the biggest part of our life, or it's take it a long period. It maybe after when the war is finished, Ukraine can be to have there some risk with missile attack is a permanent. But we have some regions in Ukraine. West part right now have very good position for develop energy in their market, because the third energy hydrogen cluster must be located in the west part or the south part, because it's more to short distance to export energy. It's very good communication with the pipeline, have very good facilities for green ammonia, and I think right now Ukrainians have connection, yes, with a grid between the Lviv to Poland, yes? Yes. Yeah, it's very have good opportunity for development of, Next, please. Yeah, this is slide. It's a little bit different, but hydrogen, if you look at the European vision, it must be green. Green hydrogen must to based and have very good potential and must to be understandable for every point in Ukraine. But before, if we, try to check every 5 official documents with green energy potential in Ukraine, we can find clear and scientific method. For example, 2015, renewable energy potential was around 30. Sometimes it 40. 2020, it was 600 gigawatts. I don't understand when we try to, understand why this so jump from 30 to 600. And actually, my team and our association and another speakers who is supporting ETH Zurich finished the Swiss research for understanding and calculated green energy potential in Ukraine. We use spatial analysis, environment analysis, space analysis, spatial analysis, with ArcGIS applications, and we understand every pixel in the map of Ukraine. It's, for example, just solar and the wind. It is interactive map. And we have information about every pixel, potential, consumption, real facilities. We see all energy story during last 5 years. And we have final results. Real in grid, renewable green potential in Ukraine, around 50 gigawatts. Wind, 200, a little bit more gigawatts. It's onshore, it is on grid. But for develop green hydrogen facilities and economic, we have some limitations and some barriers in Ukraine. It is, we can use water resource in the south part of Ukraine because it is a territory where located black soil and we have the risk with agriculturals. It's less water resource. Also, we can use all territory because 70% of all territory of Ukraine, it is black soil, organic black soil. Total 30% from entire the world black soil located in Ukraine. 30%. If we, build everywhere solar station, I don't know what we will to eat tomorrow. So it's one of the impact of the food security. And when we, extraction, we get the new potential for hydrogen. It's around 33 gigawatts. Yes? Yeah, 33 gigawatts if we use wind energy, and 4 gigawatts if we will use solar energy, but is on grid. If we want to make something project with off grid, it will be something different numbers. Okay, next please. It is very interesting slides. I don't want to explain every point, but we must understand the main problem for developing hydrogen economic in Ukraine. We have, guys who want to be owner electrolyzers. Somebody want to have pipeline. Next, want to be like exporter. Somebody want to make storage for hydrogen. Somebody want to make tax-free and guarantee of origin in some like stock exchange, sorry, stock exchange? Yeah, sorry, stock exchange. But European vision in successful model, when we united and combine all these parts, and total results, will be success and a real profit hydrogen model. And after that, we can to divide it the success fee from part of every players in this chain. Next, please. I think any monopolist can to be make hydrogen market. We must to join too many players, to different markets players. And after that, we can to make hydrogen future. Okay, very briefly, 4 projects. I understand we have the war in Ukraine, but right now, I want to present 4 real cases from Ukraine. Simple element from chemical, hydrogen and nitrogen, it's green ammonia. Why green ammonia? In the west part, we have too much cheap and, not used nuclear electricity. In the west part, we have very good opportunity to connect the green ammonia pipelines to European Union. In the west part, we have also from nitrogen plants. It's a real project. Here's more details, a little bit secret right now, but we can to produce around 1 billion kilograms hydrogen and replace 5 billion cubic of natural gases per year. It's also one of the reasons why Russians attacked in the nuclear power plants. Because nuclear power plants can to give the cheap, clean energy for energy and food security for Ukraine. Next, please. In European Union, we have project that's a hydrogen backbone. And it's amazing. In sense, we got 3 hydrogen pipeline from different countries will be to connect in one point in Ukraine. It's, I think it's planning starting to this project will be in 2030. But in this area, we have one of the biggest in the European Union salt caverns facilities. And we want to use these caverns for storage for hydrogen under the high pressure. Will be like receiver park for all, East European part of the European energy security models. It's underground, it's safety, it's very cheap. We can use it everywhere. We can to close, we can to open, and it's cheap. It's very huge potential for hydrogen storage. Next one. Next. Okay, it's my favorite project. Right now, we, with our partners, Hydrogen Latvian Association, try to fix problem from the 3 points. The first point, right now, we're testing the gas turbine that work with, testing gas turbine electricity engines that run on the mixture of 26% hydrogen and natural gas or the refining waste gases. I explain, every refining plant has the waste gases. And we can make the very cheap energy and heat energy. Next project, capacity is around 15 megawatts is for this turbine. Another one is a little bit less, it's 5 megawatts for balancing green generation facilities in the place where this facilities location. Use model power gas to power, and the third is hybrid turbine for supply electricity and heat for the industry and the small cities with capacity at around 32 megawatts. And we can to use the hydrogen, clear hydrogen, 100% hydrogen. Right now, we're testing it in Latvia. I think the next year it will be present and scale up for the industrial setting. Next slide. And the favorite, really in Ukraine, we established with our partners a manufacturing green hydrogen buses, trolleybuses, that cheaper twice than some of the cheaper China buses, for example. It's very clear and very interesting project. And the next step, we want to replace all diesel generations for locomotives and use hydrogen in fuel cell for green, the locomotives parks in the Ukraine. Next. And I think I have no time to speak right now, but thank you for your attention. If you have any question about hydrogen, you can, remember my telephone or use our email. And in our team, we also work with Oleg Ryabykhin, Evgen Rosikov. They are vice-president of our association. And you also can find in LinkedIn and ask for any questions. Thank you very much. Yeah.
We know that now approved strategy of development
2050. Approved strategy, energy strategy 2050.
Hydrogen
Included
in Ukraine. Yeah?
Yes.
The information in your speech was in the basic of that strategy, or that is a different?
Yeah, I understand. I explain. Part of my presentation based on the hydrogen strategy. It's a draft. This draft hydrogen strategy was included for national energy strategy. We will see it, I think, the next month when it will be too unsecret a little bit.
Yeah, second question.
Yes.
We know that Germany have a biggest program for the imported green hydrogen. Would it be for Ukraine the main
What is really opportunity for Ukraine for exporting?
way to be as a great exporter to Germany by that program?
Okay, I explain. Germany is a leader from European country who used the Russian gas for industry and for energy. And I think Germany have very ambitious plans for this. I know too many projects, communication, collaboration, German, Ukraine, German, but for today, it was just talked. We have no any real project because Germany said you must use for one of the line of your pipeline gas transmission for European Union, and we want to buy every hydrogen, every green, clean, it's no matter, but we want to buy it in Germany, maybe in Austria. Everything it's your problem. Ukraine must create too much facilities for green hydrogen, modify it and create it, maybe restore the pipeline, change of the energy gas balance inside of our pipeline. It is very big idea. I believe in the small steps, small the projects. I understand the upstream can to be really realized in the European Union. Right now, in Germany can to be, created real upstream for hydrogen. But we can to make the local decentralization energy ecosystems. And after that, we can to unite, combine, and think for export. Because export hydrogen, it is not for government, it is private business. I believe hydrogen can to help and fix problems with energy security.
And that idea in strategy?
Yes, the first version, it was just export, but our session, our partners, and thank you for Parliament, and Member of Parliament Yuri Kamirchuk, our government believe in export, but believe in import in transmission technologies for Ukraine for creation energy independence. So thank you very much, guys. I need to invite it for the presentation next speakers. Mr. Yuri Kamirchuk, you can introduce yourself very briefly because I have no time for very good speech for you. But floor is yours.
Okay. Can you hear me? Yeah, it's okay. Thank you. Oh, hello, Mikhail. Can I sit or better if I raise? Okay, you can see me better. Thank you. Just arrived from Bern, from conference of elections in crisis times, in times of crisis. It is very useful conference from ambassadors, MPs and professors of different universities from Switzerland, France, Germany, Ukraine, UK, and why I mentioned that? Because it is very important for Ukraine now for rebuilding our economy, our energy system, and our democracy. I think our democracy didn't fall in, so we just need to make it stronger. And I think Swiss experience is very useful for us because you have 200 years of peace and very deep democracy, which go deep inside the regions, inside cities. So I mean regional referendums, local referendums, which is really useful and must be inside Ukrainian regions. So I have a small plan without presentations. My role is to tell you something about Ukrainian law and which can be like supportive for business, for inside Ukrainian business, inside investors and foreign investors, of course. But I think I need to tell you more, not only about law, Ukrainian law. So first of all, I want to thank Switzerland and other countries, European countries, and other countries for supporting Ukraine in different fields, not only defense, not only security, but in energy sector, humanitarian help. We really appreciate it, and I think we can fight with our soldiers, we can fight with our strong people inside Ukraine, not only soldiers, but we cannot fight without all equipment, all the weapons that you provide. I'm not mentioned Switzerland, I know it's about neutrality, so it's okay. Please, okay. I need to mention also that one of the Swiss ambassadors helped Lviv city, which I'm originally from, to renew a water pump system when it was attacked by Russian rockets. So thank you very much for it. And I also need to thank you, of course, for the help for rehabilitation centers in Ukraine, which is very important for Ukrainian soldiers that now they need to come back to normal life. And now to energy system. First of all, I need to say that our energy system renewed more fast than our economic system. So now we have profitable energy system, energy production in Ukraine, but still don't have enough in this period of time, don't have enough industry, because a lot of our enterprises, our industry were closed now, and actually I want to mention Mariupol, which Azovstal is totally damaged right now, but another enterprise still work, and it's a part of Russian strategy, but not this time, we will discuss it. First of all, we have many negotiations in Ukraine and abroad about Ukraine of decentralization of electricity production. Sometimes some people from government said it is impossible because we have a lot of nuclear power systems and we need to control everything, you know, and you cannot build. It's in the regions because it's a matter of security and you have no money. But I think it's a part of decentralization, so it's a very important for those regions who stopped a lot of production because of lack of electricity in difficult times. So during 4 to 6 months, there was a lot of problems with electricity. And of course, I again need to thank all our foreign partners that helped us with diesel generators, gas pump systems to back again to electricity in Ukraine. About some strategy that we discussed in Ukraine in Energy Committee, which I am member of. We have a lot of negotiation about balancing system, about energy storages. I need to mention that I am author of draft law about energy storages. Now it's not draft law, it's already implemented and signed by the president. And the second one is very important about developing of energy charging, electricity charging systems and electricity electro-communal transport in Ukraine, because we still have a lot of diesel buses, which is not good for our ecology. And of course, it's a problem because we stopped importing diesel from Russia and Belarus. Not all, I need to say. I'm a politician, I can tell everything, not from the government. Another one, which is very important, we already established a decarbonization fund, which was an idea maybe 2 or 3 years ago. Also with my colleagues of Ministry of Energy, we prepared a draft law about it, and maybe last month it was implemented in the Ukrainian parliament and also signed by the president. So they will have financing next year, and they can get help from international funds, from different sponsors from abroad. And they have really good plans. New chairman, Hanna Zamazeyeva, is a very smart person. She has a great plan to create a special platform, leasing platform for energy equipment. Of course, most of all will be from abroad. The main role of this platform is to help local authorities, communities, to make all energy systems more efficiency and not to, okay, maybe like lowering of consumption, decreasing of consumption of electricity, which is efficiency. Next, what I need to say, now we have a new draft law about industrial parks, which is very interesting for investors from abroad, because it's a special taxation. It is not perfect right now, because we need a new draft law about state-private cooperation, but it's still on the work, and I think it will be some renewing of this law in the nearest future. Next, what is important, I need to say about communities, okay. I think all communities in Ukraine need some renewing of economical strategy, which will also include energy production or electricity production, which I already mentioned, like decentralization. And also one of the, not biggest issue, but still it's an issue in some legal level. My opinion, why territorial communities cannot find investments from abroad, because they are in a different legal level in Ukraine. So international funds cannot provide any investments to them directly, not inside the Ukrainian budget, which is not interested for foreign investors. And that's why I need to tell that territorial communities need to establish some development organization or development corporation which will be legal player in Ukrainian legal system, and it is a way how investor will understand how his investments will return to it. Because if foreign investors provide only direct help to Ukrainian budget, so it's like drop in the ocean, you know, falling down and never find it. Not always. Not always. One more, what I want to say, it's about waste management. We're still on a process of renovation our law in waste management. It is some progress in it. And we have a big potential because Ukraine produces about 65 million tons in a year, which means about half of coal production in Ukraine. So you can understand how big it is potential. So we can replace coal production, coal mining, with half of using our waste, which we produce in all communities. So it's a way to capitalize all territorial communities of this material, which is from this community. So, okay, and one more interesting law that we implemented in Ukrainian parliament was about self-production of electricity under 5 megawatts, which will help also decentralized in small regions electricity production. I understand that it is very small, but I think next step will be some draft law about cooperatives, maybe for some territorial communities, which will combine, not replaced, of course, national operator like Ukrenergo, but still it is a way, in my opinion, it is a way to decentralize it and to share security risks in Ukraine. And at the end, I think we're still not using enough EU funds of not during the war, not only during the war, but before that, of course, because we have a lack of experts, we have a lack of people who can prepare a normal investment plan. That's a problem also in Ukraine. We still have not enough experts in it. So we're still looking for some expertise from abroad. And it is a big problem in the deep regions. So that's why I'm talking about renewing economical strategy, which also include finding those experts or teaching experts in regional level, which will have enough time to prepare projects, different projects. I mean, interesting projects from $5 or $10 million each, not only in energy sector, in all economical fields. And in the end, it will be some maybe political, not speech, but some opinions, my opinions. I think we need to develop more local democracy, which means more decisions in the regional levels, not in the center, because not always cabinet of ministers understand what is going on in the regions. And that's a problem. And also, I think it's combined with problems from entrepreneurs in Ukraine. I mean, small and medium business, not big business. Big business have a big lobby organizations, not only in Ukraine, but also abroad. But small and medium business still have problems, so we need to change it. Another one, I think local democracy, it's also like in Switzerland, it's a local referendum. So decentralization must be more deeper, and we need to provide more opportunities to decide on the local levels what to do or not to do. It also depends. It also need to. It also include financial decisions, not only some rules, but financial decisions. Because now, during the period of war, we understand that financial system in Ukraine is totally centralized. I need to make some example. Imagine that one city have money on the account, but cannot use it until Kyiv will let use it money. So it's not normal. We understand that it's a war, and our war needs is very important and priority number one. But still, small cities have problems sometimes because they have enough money and have proficit budget, but cannot use it correctly. Another one. I think we need two components which helps Ukrainian economy, Ukrainian regions, Ukrainian business, small, medium, and in the future a big one, need a special platform, investing platform, like crowdfunding or something like this, because we still have no organization which will be trusted by investors from abroad, not only inside Ukraine. And it must be not some like state agency or something like this, but I think in this platform must be some cooperation of regional authorities, local authorities, small medium business, audit firms, international audit firms, which will find interesting business projects, investing projects in Ukraine, which will verify those projects and then present it to investors. So I think it's a long way, but we need to do it. And at the end, I think we have still strong anti-corruption system in Ukraine. Sometimes they doing too much because, for example, sometimes declaration in Ukraine for some political people or, I don't know, people from government is more difficult, 5 times more difficult than in Europe. And some our partners from Canada, Germany, and UK ask us about it, why it is so strong. We said, okay, because we decided to show people abroad Ukraine that we want to fight the corruption. But sometimes anti-corruption organizations try to find corruption not in exact place. Sometimes too much people try to find very small things which is not interested, and at the same moment they cannot find big things, very big things, where what everybody can see. So we still need to improve it, of course. But everything what I mentioned will be possible only if one reason will be, okay, I can say like politician implemented. Ukraine must win. Ukraine must win. You know, one friend of mine told me about T-shirt sign. Not this time. He saw the sign, the sentence, "Fight like Ukrainians," and he said, "You must change it." I asked him for what. You must make a sentence on the T-shirt, win like Ukrainians. So we need to think about winning, not only fighting. And I think Ukraine, we will win very soon. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Yuri. I know you one of the member of parliaments who run Ukrainian green energy transformation forward, and we believe in your decisions and your visions. Thank you very much. I want to give the speech and invite you to the presentation. Mr. Maxim Sysoev. It's very important for Ukraine. If you want to make business in Ukraine, you must have very good lawyer. Mr. Maxim is a partner of one of the biggest lawyer company in the world. He's a partner company, Dentos. Sorry, Dentos is correct. And floor is yours.
Yeah, so thank you very much for invitation and for this opportunity to speak today. I would like, first of all, say a few words about speech of Mr. Kamelchuk. It was a great review of what we have in the parliament. I do, as a lawyer, as a representative of the industry, support of those initiatives because they, in some part, are revolutionary. For instance, it was mentioned a mechanism of net billing, which will be introduced. It's well supported by the industry. Also, we well expect auctions for renewable energy facilities, which the mechanism is amended now according to the draft law passed in the first reading. We all wait for mechanism of guarantees of origin for renewable energy projects, for hydrogen, for biomethane, etc., which will start working in Ukraine, etc., etc. So you would see in the upcoming future there would be a lot of changes favorable, bring the Ukrainian legal framework in line with European legislation, and that would attract a lot of attention. That's my personal view. For today's presentation, I was asked to prepare information on possible relocation of Ukrainian companies, including those which Vasily mentioned, producing equipment for the period of the war, let's say outside of Ukraine, in order then after the war reinvest and then expand their operation in Ukraine. And frankly speaking, I saw such practical cases. So why Ukrainian companies are considering now to relocate to European Union and neighbor countries, and let's say why it could be interesting for both European and Ukrainian companies. So first of all, we still have a risk of physical damage to investments made on the territory of Ukraine. The question of insurance covering political and military risk is being resolved, but still in the process. So at the moment, that's a question you would be able to procure that insurance or not. There are mechanisms like DFC is suggesting something, American financial, let's say, institution, export credit agency, let's call it this way, MIGA, or IFC, etc. But so far, there is no solid and mechanism which you can rely on. Then business interruptions, yes, even if you have risk insurance, you carry out business in Ukraine and let's say want to build a manufacturing plant producing equipment for electricity production, for hydrogen, etc., etc. Risk of business interruption still exists because of attacks of Russian army and damage to energy infrastructure. Insurance I managed, challenges because of those reasons to get equity investors and financing in the territory of Ukraine, I still see. That's the challenge. And still I see in the market the situation when in a number of projects you need European Union or foreign investors or foreign financing, given that in the territory of Ukrainian it's a problematic still. The companies consider projects outside of Ukraine together with European investments and European financing. Personally, I saw experience of such case in Poland. Why Poland? Logistic proximity to Ukraine. All knows that during this war, Poland became a hub, logistic hub, military hub, political hub, etc., for support from the European Union to Ukraine. Then possibility to set up a JV in Poland. I experienced that, and I see that legal system and laws are working in Poland. It's Europe, European Union, and you can have high level of protection. In Poland still there is available land and real estate, basically to construct production facilities. In case of one of my clients, they considered production of some cable components. So they searched within some territories in the east of Poland, and they found appropriate land and real estate. And it's quite interesting that in east of Poland, close to Ukraine, there is the highest need for new investments. In Poland, available almost all local and international mechanisms, EBRDs financing there, local banks, etc. So, and there is no issue with insurance, with the need to obtain military insurance or similar mechanism as it will be required for all projects in Ukraine for the time being. And the last but not least, Ukrainian labor force. A lot of Ukrainians migrated to Poland, so for those projects it's possible to hire Ukrainians. And for the time being, you don't need even work permit because Ukrainians can work in Poland according to Polish laws without these additional permissions. It's interesting that Poland is attractive for such relocation and JVs between European companies and Ukrainian companies due to tax incentives, which is maybe for Mr. Kamelchuk, and maybe we have someone from the government interesting to hear maybe implement in Ukraine, quite interesting. More complicated than in Ukraine, sophisticated, but turned out quite efficient. So first of all, it's corporate tax in Poland, 19%. You can get certain tax incentives for up to 15 years if you invest and, let's say, build a production facility in Poland. Here you have the amount of what you can tax you can save. Basically, it's a percentage of capex. If you invest in production facility in Poland and you are medium-sized company, you can get from 40 to 60% tax benefits in the amount of the total capex invested. How percentage is calculated? The formula is complicated. You need to consider on the cases-by-case basis. There are special qualification indicators, region, number of employees you will employ, the level of employment in your region, etc., etc. Another mechanism, which actually I now consult one Ukrainian company which is applying for this cash mechanism, is cash grant. A system of cash grants paid under the agreement between the investor and the relevant ministry based on eligible costs. For what? Investment in the business services centers and research and development centers. So basically, the government give incentives to develop R&D. Strategic investment, innovative investments, and again, research and development centers. So there are certain investment criteria regarding capex and minimum employment. It's basically grants. So if you provide specific program, you show that you would do research and development. In the case of my client, they consider hydrogen, by the way, production, which Vasily mentioned, so you can get grants. Production in Ukraine, but equipment to be developed and produced in Poland. Other tax incentives, local authorities can reduce real estate tax and they're quite often eager to do this if you place your production facilities there. Tax deductibility, 100%, sometimes 200% for eligible R&D expenses. So here we see how Polish government incentivizes R&D. Additional personal income tax paid to employees who are working on R&D. Also, questions of robotization, special incentive to stimulate IP and new trademarks, new mechanisms, patents. It's basically special tax treatment for IP-related rights related to R&D, 5% instead of 19%. And if you introduce new products in the market of Poland, you can get 100% of eligible tax deductible costs. So basically, you provide new product for the market, like it could be again like hydrogen or let's say some new equipment, and then your costs are tax deductible. And special deal with the tax authorities, yeah, so you can get it in advance. Why those companies who relocated to Poland could be interested then to come back to Ukraine? In my view, it's possible. Start project JV with European companies in Poland, for instance, or other neighbor countries, and come back to Ukraine. We also have good incentives for that, in my view. I believe closer to the end of the war, maybe even sooner than you think, there would be renewal of financing and new insurance coverage. Land and real estate, Ukraine is even richer for sure than Poland in terms of available resources. Labor force, more and more Ukrainians are coming back, or they are in Ukraine and looking for job. And state support and incentives. As Mr. Komalchuk mentioned, there are a lot of mechanisms, industrial parks, etc., etc. What I would like to mention here at this presentation briefly for the end, at this moment for me, it looks like the best mechanism we have for such relocation back to Ukraine from Poland to Europe is incentives for significant investments. So on this slide, you can see the current requirements for such investments. So basically 20 million euros, state support not more than 30%, and those investments should be implemented during 5 years. And of course, new jobs created. Now there is a draft law in the parliament which suggests to reduce the threshold from 20 million euros to lower, like I believe 12 million euros, and less new jobs. So more companies would comply with these requirements and get this possibility to get these incentives. We have also in Ukraine not bad list of exemptions and tax breaks. So it's basically exemptions from customs charges and VAT, exemption from corporate income tax for 5 years, certain at state cost construction works for infrastructure for your projects, special procedure for use of right and real estate, so you are helped with this process. And basically, you have the agreement with the government where all your rights and obligations of the government and authorities are listed. I believe it's a good legal mechanism to protect rights of investors. Again, that I believe would be more and more interesting for investors closer to the end of the war when the situation is settled out. Now there is a good possibility to consider Poland or other countries, and as Vasil mentioned, we are the largest law firm in Europe and in the world. We would be happy to assist you with such structure. Thank you very much.
Super. Thank you. Main message, what I heard, it's a real opportunity to save and security your business in a legal frame, in legal solutions. Okay, right now I want to invite Mr. Wojtowicz because he has represented a real business in Ukraine. Yep, and I think in the future he will need supporting from company of dentists because his company want to make some export to the European Union in biogas technologies. And welcome.
Hi. So my name is Sandri. I represent the business community. We're the group of companies that are involved in the agricultural and green energy business. And we're building the first biomethane liquefaction plant in the Eastern Europe. Before going into the details of our projects, I want to tell you what prompted us and made us to go in this business from the beginning. So basically even before the Russia invasion, the European Union concentrated on the biofuels. And that was obvious. The biodiesel, bioethanol blending, and the biogas generation became the main priorities of the Green Deal and all the European directives. So as you can see from here, the generation of the biogas in 2020 is 18 billion cubic meters, 42 2030, 125 in 2050. But not all the biogas is generated for the energy at the moment, and then that has to be changed by the European Union. That's what they aim. This table shows that only right now 3 billion cubic meters of biomethane actually goes to the grid, and this has to be 10 times bigger by 2030, which shows that it can reduce up to 20% of the gas imported from Russia. That's why the biomethane is very important, and it's one of the main alternative biofuels in the RED II directives, and the European Union makes a big concentration on whatever is related on the biomethane. Our business is BioLNG. BioLNG is the liquefied biomethane, and it's the only existing working right now alternative fuel in the long-haul transport, in the truck transportation and the maritime transportation. The technology was developed recently, about 10 years ago, 2011, 2013 they started. In 2017, the first LNG truck drove the European Union roads. Right now, as you can see, there are close to 630 LNG filling stations across Europe. Germany is the leader, Italy, France, Spain. These are the most countries that are going to the LNG truck and transporting by the LNG trucks. So as you can see here, right now in 2020, there was 12,000 LNG powered trucks on the roads. This will drastically change by 2030. It's going to be more close to 300,000 LNG powered trucks. And if we're talking about the green and the GHG emissions, so if you can see, if it's a 40%, so the emissions could be less than 50%. If it's the 80% of the bio-LNG trucks on the roads, there is a zero carbon emission. So that's why this is our main factors why we decided to go and start building this liquefaction plant and to contribute to the green change of the transport in Europe. What are the main initiatives and why let's go briefly through it. Was the invasion of Russia, the EU started the repower plant and dedicated close to 225 billion of euros for the transformation programs in the green energy, prompted by accelerating clean energy, diversifying and saving. And Ukraine in this frame can be as a diversifier and can export quite big amounts of the green fuels into European Union. If talking about us, as I told you, we're a group of companies. There's a Josefa Mikolaev biogas company that is generating right now the biogas, and there's a Liquid gas company that will do and operate the liquefaction plant. So basically, in June, we decided that we will build the biogas plant. In December 2019, we started the first stage of our plant, which is right now generating the electrical power. In June 2020, we reached our top capacity, which is 5.2 megawatts per hour, and it's close to 100,000 cubic meters of biogas generating per day. And 2021, we reached quite a good milestone in EBITDA, which is 2.4 million. That's for this size of the plant is quite good. But then we understood that the electricity generation goes nowhere, and we decided that we will build the liquefaction plant. That's why we installed in the middle of the war, we installed the biomethane upgrade unit that removes all the CO2 from the biogas. And we, at the end of the 2022, we signed the contract with one of the leading producers of the liquefaction plant from Denmark. And we're expecting to receive this equipment by the end of the year. And we will start producing our bio-LNG in March 2023. 20 tons per day. For you to understand, this can fill 20 trucks. So one truck can carry, one full tank is 1 ton of LNG. Briefly, what is our key incentives of our projects? So this is a sustainable project that complies with all the Green Deal and the RED II directives. We will produce eco-friendly product. Our business model is very easy scalable and can be increased with the very less small amount of improvements. And the most important thing of us that we have available the feedstock. We have available, and our feedstock is an advanced feedstock. We have a long-term contracts with the local farmers, with the chicken producer facilities, milking farms, that makes us, that we can look into long-term future. As for our project, more in details. So basically we use, as the raw material for the biogas production, we use straw. We collect from our fields, we use the beet pulp from the sugar mill, and we use chicken manure. This all are waste that we're, through the cogenerators, we do the 90,000 cubic meters of biogas. As you can see, we sell 5.2 megawatts per hour to the electrical grid. The stage number 2, we will produce biomethane and liquefy it and export it to the European Union. The stage number 3, we will have another liquefaction plant, and we're thinking of building the bioethanol plant that gives also a stylage, which is very complicated waste that lots of plants has the problem with it, but we will also process it through the biogas plant and again receive the green fuel. So this is our model for the next 3 years, and we're looking forward to slightly develop it. What is the good points of our project and our business? The first of all, that we do the waste recycling and process all the agricultural residues that lots of farmers had the problems with before. And we turn these residues to the actual commodity that has a price but not the problem. And we help them to solve their problems. The question number 2 is the clean transport. The road transport commit up to 27% of the total GHG emissions on the roads. With the bio-LNG, we can reduce this by 50% easily. And the more bio-LNG and the more the LNG trucks will be on the roads, the more CO2 reduction will happen. And this second factor goes to the third one, that we prevented the greenhouse gas emissions. By collecting the waste, we prevent the natural process of CO2 generation. And through the biogas, we utilize all the CO2 that could possibly go to the air. Secondly, we produce the biofuel that substitutes the fossil fuels. And third, the side product of the biogas generation plant is the natural fertilizer, organic fertilizers, that could be inject it into back to the fields, and get the soil will get their CO2, natural CO2, what it needs. Basically, we're a real company that is trying to be innovative and to be as close to the Europe and their directives and their initiatives as we can. If you have any questions, I'll be glad to answer them. Thank you.
Thank you for your perfect presentation. Sorry, and right now, and finally, I want to join to the presentation. Very beautiful woman, yes. And next topic is very relevant in the process recovery territory and the change of the targeting of territory. Because I hope in the future, Ukraine recovery plan will be included the specific idea like build ecosystem services for simple people, for citizens, and will be to approach in scientific reports and methods. And Alisa Bankowska, I think, pioneer, yes, in the first and from the first experts who try to develop this process as this normal, convenient, and comfort restriction of territory in Ukraine. Welcome.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon. Yeah. I'm Alisa Bankowska. I am architect and city changer. I'm here to talk with you about the transformation of cities into smart and sustainable communities. So I'm going to talk about impact of spatial development on the citizen behavior. Let me introduce myself. I am a founder of Hub of Innovations for Cities, Synchrospace, and co-founder of the Impactful Development Agency, Spatial Development Agency, Voice of Space. I've dedicated all my professional activities to make our cities future-ready and human-friendly. And today we saw a lot of exciting presentations about green energy solutions. But I would like to talk with you about a little bit different challenge that we are facing now. The challenge of how to make sustainable living our new norm of our society, the norm of our everyday lifestyle. I don't want to sound romantic. I am absolutely aware about the urgent agenda of Ukrainian society. But at the same time, I am absolutely sure that if we will face this challenge in the nearest future if we don't take this seriously today. So let me share with you several, I can say 2 case studies that can demonstrate how important is spatial development in impact of citizen behavior. In 2021, we conducted the program of coal mining transformation for the pilot cities that were chosen by Ukrainian government, because until 2035, Ukraine declared that we are going to close public mines. But before closure of mines, we need first to prepare, to find another solutions how this city can live. We, as a coordinator of systemic transformation in the project of Just Transition project of UNDP, we united a lot of stakeholders, including for ministries of Ukraine, including embassies, different scientific teams, startups, and international expert donors, etc. All stakeholders were involved in the program, and I'm also happy to see today on this stage one person who was also involved in development of all this program, Yuri Kamilchuk.
Not only involved, but your program is also very useful for my city, which I am from, and my constituency. It's a city of Chervonograd, city of coal mines. It's like Donbas on the eastern region part of Ukraine. It's in the western part of Ukraine. It's a Chervonograd and city of Novovolinsk. And I need to say only one sentence, that ideas of Alisa of transforming those regions is very useful right now, not only 2 years ago when it starts, but now we have still project from GIZ, German organization, and this ideas is very useful for transforming. Thank you.
Thank you very much for this important addition. So our program had several stages. The first one was the research for people, the local society, and also for environment. We had also the next stages. We created the systemic maps for these pilot cities. We conducted urban hackathon and developed the list of different innovative solutions that can help transform these cities. We also created the portfolio of different projects and initiatives for transformation of coal mining cities. But what is interesting, when we had the results of our research on the first stage of the program, we saw a lot of environmental challenges as well as social challenges that we need to solve. But we also saw that among people, among citizens, there was no request for solving these environmental challenges. They really don't care about this, with the focus on their social challenges. And we, as a result of this program, I can show several solutions that were proposed for the cities. And you can see that the most of them are the solutions based on circularity, on sustainability, on energy efficiency. And what we have now, what we see, that all these solutions, after implementation, it's people who will use them. It's people who are responsible for the next development of these solutions in their cities. And that's why it's not enough to create the infrastructure, to create these solutions, to have the policies, to have the strategies on the municipal levels, on the governmental levels. It's important also to work with society on the changing of the behavior of society to make it more sustainable and to adopt the values of sustainability. Let me also share with you, talking about creation, not only infrastructure, we should create also the culture and the way how to accept all these sustainable values. Talking about this, I would like to show you one more study case. This study case is about our collaboration with the architectural company from Taiwan. It's bioarchitecture Formosana. They are pioneers in circular architecture and design. Their main customers are municipalities because they have their strategy to transform their cities into circular cities. They need the circular objects and they have plan how to implement this. So let me tell you that all these objects are absolutely impressive, and they are developed. As architect, I can understand that they are developed to provide us with the sustainable, healthy, with the very comfortable living, with the view on the future, with understanding of our future challenges. But honestly, can you can you answer? Are you ready to choose among all the objects for living, for working, for spending your time, the circular objects? Why I am asking this? Because to live and to use such environment, you should change your usual lifestyle. It's not so easy if you did not do it before. So you should accept the principles of rethinking, of sharing the premises, the transport. You should composting. You should do a lot of things that connected with all this circular process. So it's another way of living, and it's not so easy. And that's why it's like a barrier why people should choose this. So what challenge we have with in this case? Actually, the challenge is the same. We have the initiatives that come from top down. But we should also consider the work with the society to implement all the strategies bottom up. I'm talking not about, Taiwan, it's the case with which we cooperate, so I can show it. But I can say also that it's not the only country. There are a lot of, we can see in all the world the same tendency. For example, in European Union from 2015, in the strategy was the circular economy package was applied, and there are also a lot of tools how to stimulate the construction, the green building, the development of infrastructure in the way of circularity. Real tools that now a lot of countries start to implement. France, Germany, Finland, Netherlands, they are like pioneers in this, but also other countries. So it is already chosen. We should live with this and with this choice, and we should understand what else we can do to make all the strategy real, and not for the short period, but also with the view, with our vision of the future. Today we are talking, not today, now I think all of us, we are focused on our victory and also on our, as the organizers of all this great forum says, that the biggest and the most important global project of the next decades, the rebuilding and development of Ukraine. And what I would like to say that we don't want just to rebuild Ukraine. We want to build sustainable Ukraine. We want to build sustainable country. And do you see, so not only on this forum, I visit a lot of different forums, a lot of initiatives. I see how many strategies, how many top-down initiatives are discussing, creating for the next sustainable development of Ukraine. But do you see the parallel with the cases that I already showed? So we are going the same way, and it's our responsibility to keep this in mind and to add to all these strategies and governmental strategies on the level of states, strategies on the level of municipalities, also to add another approach, bottom-up approach, that will help us to change the behavior of people. And we have the tool that can help us to implement this. When we say about transformation of citizen behavior, we are talking about the communication that can be efficient to help people to understand all the advantages, all the values, to understand what should they do, what should be our behavior, to be one, to be the part of all this sustainable future. If we consider all the tools, communication tools that are usual, you can see that they are not so long, their influence is not so long. So at the same time, if we consider, we have one more communication tool, it is our spaces. We all live in spaces, we are surrounded by spaces, and spaces influence us, influence how people feel themselves, how do we humans think, and how do we act. I can remind you just the theory of broken windows, if you know. So if there is, so all the spaces influence us all the time. And that is very important thing, that this influence, this impact is not temporary, it's permanently. But when we say about municipalities that have a lot of public spaces that a lot of people cross, a lot of people stay there, spend time there. When we talk about industrial parks, industrial companies that have a lot of spaces of their premises, of their territories, etc., we can say the same about other business. The question is, do you use this impact of your spaces consciously? Do you use it purposefully? Because it is the powerful communication tool, and it impacts people all the time. Doesn't matter, do you send your messages to people through these spaces or not? The question is how to use them. In our cooperation with the different development projects, now we identified different types of, we say, touch points of interaction. By creation of touch points of interaction in the space, we can organize the interaction of people with the space in which people stay, which people cross, etc. And from this interaction, it is physical object with the digital tool of interaction. And from this interaction, people can understand the value, the main message, we can educate through these touch points of interaction. We can help people to change their mind, and through permanent interaction with it, we can also influence the change of behavior of people. It could be a very useful, helpful tool for our goal to have sustainable society. Several examples also how it works, such touch points of interaction. Eco Park for Gostomel, it's the park of physical objects, of sculptures. It's art that that attract attention, but at the same time with the application that help people to understand the principles of these sculptures. They also have the system of water purification, but at the same time you can understand why it is so important. You can learn how to deal with all these spaces. So it's public space with the physical, we name it phygital, physical plus digital touch points of interaction. And we can have different goals, what we want to reach through this interaction, how we want to influence people. Another one example, living sculptures for Bila Cerkva. In this case, it's an example of a small solution that influenced the development of the city too, because it attracts a lot of people. People pay attention to this. Through this interaction, people can educate. There are a lot of different messages that are inside this interaction that people can learn. And such attention and traffic of people, locals and people from other cities, it attracts the other services. So it influenced the development of businesses around this place. And this also make additional taxes, additional income to the city budget. So it's a little example how can we use such touch points of interaction in different places, on the water, on the ground, and we can consider it for absolutely different locations, for public spaces of cities, for industrial parks, for innovation hubs. We can help people to build community that is crucial for example, development of innovation parks, etc. And with the idea of development of sustainability, development of energy efficiency, and other important things that we should develop for our sustainable future, we can work with our spaces. The last thing I would like to pay your attention, the city of the future, for me, it's a city that combines economical success and both social and environmental impact. But the same we can say also about entrepreneurship. I believe that all the entrepreneurship is social because of the community that every business serves. It's direct relationship with specific community, and that means that every business, being such social, can impact this community. There is, maybe you heard about this definition, triple bottom line, when the environmental influence, social impact, is as important as economic bottom line. So I propose to consider the spaces in which we are living, the spaces that every business and every city operate, manage, or own. Consider it as a powerful communication tool and think how we can use all this impact. How can we build our future sustainable society? And we can help you also in this, in our Voice of Space agency. And I invite you also to visit our website, Voice of Space Partners. You can find more information about this, and I would be happy to answer all your questions. Let's transform your spaces into meaningful environments together. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I hope in some future space analysis will be to the base layer in every recovery project in Ukraine, in any country in the future, because it's very important. Okay, I'm grateful our speakers, our guests, for your attention, for your time. I also want to invite you to join us in the next panel. It will start in, I think it's around 1 hour. But finally, thank you very much.